That's tricky. You're tapping, but on what is it? Because what I mean that was some of the what I mean. I don't know that I have that right. He was talking. It's weird that with the way we do this. I mean, the discussion was about like political things, but he did mention like the Pentagon and sort of like government procurement. So he did. He sort of like he that guy when he said the Pentagon and that guy said It's interesting you banged and that guy said the word Newtonian sort of thing, but then you banged on something I might have been thinking. But I mean, I could just I could just sort of take a guess at the kind of the problem, like, but would be it's a guess, it's speculative. Like, I don't know if I got to tap because I sort of have that. Um, let's leave alone for a minute that we don't know what where the unified field like came from and everything. I mean, I see that. I mean, there is some kind of new. I mean, here. This would be it's just a guess about what is actually like the thing would I'm speculating, but you seem like you tap like maybe like I could try, part of what seems what I would guess is happening or what's happened to what's happened to the country and I mean like I said it was is this and this and it would be the way. I mean, it would if this is what's happening, right? I mean, to correct it, it's simple, but it's a large scale thing. But these are it's just the structural features of our society. But this would, if this was corrected, right, that would be the end of, right, we'd go back to, like, high wages, employment, production, and, like, the poor would be out of that situation. I mean, a bunch of things, the mass incarceration would stop. I mean, this kind of thing, right, I mean, traditionally, right, what would be stopping when you think, well, what is stopping the traditional means of building the economy? Like, right, meaning like the two engines and drivers for the high tech sector and for new waves of production, including green production and new kinds of green infrastructure and all that, and the new whatever new energy sources and this kind of thing. I mean, what would be stopping the two traditional mechanisms for it? The Pentagon system and NASA, right? Okay, so what would be all of a sudden? It's like the whole the economy's disintegrating. It's like the Dust Bowl for everybody. Well, what happened to all that defense spending? And they shut down the space program, and then no, I'm not getting it right. I mean, is it because of what Britain's done? I mean, I'm trying to see where we at. I can't put you're tapping and it's like that's yes, no, right. I mean, see, here's the thing. If right. If if Brit if international banks, okay, I mean, if the international banks have us under the threat of capital flight, if we should the ones that are trading blocks of currency. Remember, see, if we wanted to, how did the country disintegrate? It's only recently that they could do this. That inter-alpha banking network that's like, it's like it includes people look it up on Wikipedia. It includes like Royal Bank of Scotland and banks based in the UK and central banks in different parts of Europe and stuff. I mean, that when they started trading blocks of currency like that, which like when they started doing that is when they dismantled the Bretton Woods system in 1971. Capital controls and regulated currencies, and the market for money was then determined by the value of money is now determined by the market for it. So they're trading blocks of currency. Anything that would depreciate our currency, they'll start selling it off. Okay, right. So what would suddenly be that we've gutted NASA and for some reason all of that defense spending, the billions that go into defense, it's no longer re-entering the economy in the form of the high tech sector and new waves of production and technical jobs. And what happened? All that defense spending still taking place, but suddenly it stopped re-entering our economy and building it somehow, and then they gutted NASA as if to say that all that money going into NASA, it's no longer going to enter back into the economy in the form of like new forms of technology and production. Well, why would that be? The reason it would be is that these European banks, if that kind of growth does devalue the currency, but in a positive sense. That kind of growth, new waves of production, a new high-tech sector, green technologies, the billions of dollars that are going into the Pentagon system, theoretically, it's a new phenomenon that it's not coming back in the form of high tech. That's the driver for the high tech economy and production jobs and so forth. What happened? Was it just sitting there? What about all the new technologies? Why gut NASA? Well, if there simply it can't re-enter, because if it re-entered in the form of growth and jobs, will be punished with capital flight from British, Scottish banks, central banks in places like, all over Europe. They'll punish us with capital flight. That would be what's new since 1971. So the billions of dollars, they are going in to, into the traditional thing, which is military research that develops new technologies and green technologies and all that stuff, but it won't enter back into our building the economy, because that kind of growth depreciates the currency. And if European banks that own billions of dollars of our currency begin to sell it off, the economy will disintegrate. So that's stopped. That would be what we think would happen. So the move would have to be to get back economic sovereignty, a new Bretton Woods agreement, and get out a threat from capital flight, and then the Pentagon system and NASA would start functioning as it always did, and all the research they must have been doing in the new technologies would be released into the private sector, and we'd have high-paying production jobs. The mass incarceration would stop, wages would go up, and our infrastructure would be built. That would be my guess. Let's leave it at that.